Darth, Theorist, rise.
What if Anakin Skywalker received an orange Kyber crystal from Illum? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. The Jedi Temple stands as it always has, ancient and unchanging. He arrives at 9 years old, older than most initiates. The other younglings have spent years learning to quiet their minds, to sit still, to let the Force move through them. Anakin has spent those same years surviving, fixing engines in Watto's shop. The gap shows immediately. In combat training, he moves with instincts that make instructors pod mid-sentence. His reflexes border on precognitive. He reads opponents before they commit to strikes, counters before attacks fully form. But in meditation, he falls apart. His mind refuses stillness. Every session devolves into restless energy, frustration bleeding into the Force. The other younglings feel it. They shift uncomfortably on their mats. Some complain to their instructors. He wants to belong here, desperately, but wanting it so badly becomes the very thing that pushes everyone away. 2 years pass. The day arrives that every youngling trains for, the gathering for Ilum. The ancient world greets them with silence and cold. Massive Kyber crystal formations jut from cavern walls, refracting light in patterns. The younglings enter the crystal cave in a group, but the journey is solitary. Each child must find the crystal that calls to them. One by one, they do. A Rhodian girl emerges first, clutching a pale blue crystal to her chest, tears streaming down her face. A human boy follows minutes later, his green crystal already humming faintly in his palm. Over the next hour, every youngling returns. Every youngling except Anakin. He stands in the central cavern, surrounded by thousands of crystals, and feels nothing. No pull, no call. No whisper through the Force guides him toward the one that's meant to be his. The crystals glow around him, alive with energy, but none of them respond to his presence. Time passes. The cold deepens. His breath fogs in the air as frustration builds in his chest, hot and tight and suffocating. He presses his palms against the nearest formation. Nothing. He reaches out with the Force, casting his awareness wide, scanning for any responses at all. The crystals remain silent, indifferent. The other younglings are gone. Their voices echo faintly from the surface, celebrating, laughing, holding their crystals like newborns. And he's here, alone, again. The old anger rises, the familiar heat that burns behind his eyes when the galaxy reminds him that he doesn't fit in. He was supposed to be the chosen one. Qui-Gon believed it. The prophecy demanded it. And yet the Force itself won't give him what every child received without effort. He doesn't accept it. Instead of turning back toward the surface, Anakin moves deeper, past the boundaries the instructors warned them never to cross. The cavern narrows, the crystals thin out, and the temperature drops until his fingers go numb. The Force here feels different, heavier, older. The walls press close, and the light from the surface fades until he's navigating by instinct alone. The ground beneath his boots shifts from smooth stone to smothering, rougher, cracked, unstable. Then he feels it, a vibration in his chest that matches the rhythm of his own heartbeat, uneven, urgent. He drops to his knees and digs. His fingers scrape through frost and loose rock until they close around something small and warm. He pulls it free. An orange crystal, cracked along one face, buried deeper than anything should survive. It pulses in his palm with a light that flickers between bright and dim, bright and dim. The moment his skin touches it, the cave reacts. A deep tremor rolls through the stone. Crystals along the walls dim for 3 full seconds before reigniting. Dust falls from the ceiling. A section of the passage behind him collapses, forcing him to find another route to the surface. He doesn't care. He has what he came for. Back at the temple, he builds his lightsaber under Obi-Wan's supervision. The construction goes smoothly. Anakin's mechanical intuition makes the technical work effortless, but when he ignites the blade for the first time, Obi-Wan's expression shifts. The blade is orange, but it doesn't hold steady. It flickers, pulses. The hum is aggressive, uneven, like an engine running on contaminated fuel. The light it casts throws unstable shadows across the workshop walls.
That's unusual. I've never seen a blade behave quite like that.
The council convenes within days to address the unprecedented orange lightsaber. The crystal's unstable behavior raises concerns. Its color setting uneasily between Jedi yellow and Sith red. Debate unfolds over caution versus judgment. Close monitoring is urged, with emphasis on tracking every training session and emotional shift. Obi-Wan acknowledges the responsibility but stresses guidance over surveillance. The atmosphere remains tense as the Council ultimately advises a careful balance between trust and vigilance. Years pass. Anakin grows into one of the most gifted fighters the Temple has produced in a generation. His combat scores are exceptional. His connection to the Force during action is staggering. When he moves, when he fights, he is everything the prophecy promised. But meditation remains a wall he cannot climb. His emotional control fractures under pressure. The crystal responds to every shift in his state. When he is calm, the blade steadies. When anger or fear spike, it destabilizes, flickering and surging with unpredictable energy. During a routine sparring session, it happens. His opponent, a Padawan named Terran, lands a strike that catches Anakin off guard. Embarrassment flares into anger. The crystal responds instantly. The blade surges with a burst of raw energy that blows through Anakin's control. Terran is thrown back. His arm is badly burned. The training hall goes silent. Anakin stares at his own weapon, horrified. Terran is carried off to the medical wing. The other Padawans won't meet Anakin's gaze. The council convenes. The debate is heated.
The crystal is unstable. The boy is unstable. This combination will lead to disaster.
We cannot ignore the danger this presents. Other students are at risk. He's learning. The crystal is rare, and we don't fully understand its nature. Pushing him for something he can't yet control will only deepen the problem.
Understanding doesn't prevent injury, Kenobi.
The argument continues for hours. Several masters threaten to withdraw their own Padawans from shared training sessions if Anakin remains. The fracture within the council deepens until Yoda raises his hand.
Conflict he carries. Deep. Old. Born of a life none of us have known. Deny it we cannot. But cast him out for what he has not yet learned to master. We should not.
And if he hurts someone again?
Then failed him. We have.
Anakin stays, but the distance between him and the rest of the Order grows wider. Other Padawans train in groups. Anakin trains alone. Other students share meals and laughter. Anakin eats in silence. Obi-Wan remains his anchor, but even that bond carries tension now. The caution in his master's eyes, the way he positions himself slightly further away during sparring. Small things, but Anakin notices all of them. He is accepted, but he is feared, and he knows the difference. At 20, he stands taller than most knights. His shoulders have broadened from years of combat training. His jaw is sharpened. His eyes carry something that wasn't there before. The orange blade has become part of his identity now. Other Jedi carry blue or green, and no one looks twice. Anakin ignites his saber and the room shifts. Every eye finds him. Conversations pause. The blade still flickers in moments, but he's learned to manage it, mostly. The crystal responds to his state with uncomfortable honesty. When he's centered, the blade holds. When he's not, everyone knows. He hates that about it, and he respects it, both at the same time. Obi-Wan has done his best. Their bond has deepened through shared missions. His advice always circles back to the code. Release your attachments. Trust the Force. Let go of what you fear to lose. Anakin hears it. He understands it. He cannot do it, because there is Padme, Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo. He met her as a boy, now reunited during a protection assignment. That childhood feeling has grown into something the Jedi has no framework for. She sees him, the boy from Tatooine who wanted to free every slave in the galaxy, and still carries that impossible dream somewhere in his heart.
You carry so much, Annie. I can see it in your eyes, even when you smile.
The Jedi say attachment leads to suffering, that I should let go of everything I care about.
And what do you say?
I say letting go of you would be the thing that destroys me, not holding on.
They marry in secret, a ceremony attended by droids in sunset and nothing else. Anakin knows what it means. He knows the Order would expel him if they discovered it. He knows Obi-Wan would be devastated. He knows the Council would see it as confirmation of every fear they've ever had about him. He does it anyway, because Padme is the only place where the crystal goes completely still. The only presence in his life that quiets the hum without demanding he become someone else first. But secrets have gravity. They pull everything around them into orbit. Every conversation with Obi-Wan now carries an unspoken lie beneath it. Every council briefing requires him to partition his mind, hiding the part of himself that matters most. The crystal feels the strain. Some mornings he ignites the blade just to check. Still orange, still flickering, still honest about things he refuses to say out loud. Palpatine notices the change before anyone else. Their meetings have become a fixture of Anakin's life on Coruscant. The Chancellor always has time for him, always listens, always understands in ways that feel effortless and warm. Where the Council lectures, Palpatine validates. Where Obi-Wan cautions, Palpatine encourages.
You seem lighter lately, Anakin. More grounded. Something has changed.
I've been meditating more. Obi-Wan's been working with me on control.
Meditation, of course. You know, Anakin, the Jedi's insistence on emotional suppression has always struck me as counterproductive. Emotions aren't the enemy. They're information. They tell us what matters. A man who feels nothing protects nothing.
The Council would disagree.
The Council disagrees with everything that challenges their authority. They fear your crystal because it proves their philosophy is incomplete, a blade that responds to emotion rather than suppressing it. Imagine what that means for their entire doctrine.
The words settle into Anakin's mind alongside everything else Palpatine has given him over the years. Perspective, comfort, the persistent gentle suggestion that the Order's rules exist not to protect Anakin, but to contain him. Meanwhile, the galaxy hurtles toward war. The Separatist crisis deepens as Count Dooku's movements gains momentum across the Outer Rim. Trade routes destabilize, diplomatic channels collapse. Systems that once debated secession now demand it openly, backed by the growing military power of the Trade Federation and its allies. On Geonosis, it comes to a head. Obi-Wan's investigation into the assassination attempts on Padme leads him to a droid factory and a separatist war council he was never meant to discover. His capture forces the Republic's hand. Anakin and Padme launch a rescue that spirals into the first open battle between Republic and Separatist forces. The arena on Geonosis burns with blaster fire and the hum of 100 lightsabers. Jedi fall, clones deploy for the first time, white armor pouring from gunships and waves that turn the tide through sheer numbers. Anakin fights with everything he has, his orange blade carving through battle droids while the crystal surges with the adrenaline and fear and fury of real combat. The Republic wins the battle, but Dooku slips away toward his hangar. Anakin and Obi-Wan pursue. The hangar is dim. Dooku stands waiting, his curved lightsaber hilt resting in his palm. His posture is relaxed. His eyes move from Obi-Wan to Anakin and settle on the orange blade with visible curiosity.
How fascinating. An orange crystal. I haven't seen one in decades. The archives spoke of them as aberrations. Crystals that refuse to commit.
It commits just fine.
Does it? That flicker suggests otherwise. Tell me, young one, does your weapon always announce your emotional state to your enemies? That seems a rather significant disadvantage.
You'll find his disadvantages are overstated, Dooku.
Obi-Wan attacks first, probing Dooku's defenses with careful discipline. Dooku turns each strike aside with minimal effort. Within 30 seconds, he finds an opening. A force push sends Obi-Wan crashing into the far wall. He slumps, unconscious. Anakin charges. No patience, no strategy. Pure aggression fueled by fear for his master and rage at the man who put him down. The orange blade burns bright, surging with every emotion Anakin pours into his strikes.
Ah, there it is. Raw power without refinement. You hit like a meteor, boy. But meteors are predictable.
He's right. Anakin's attacks are powerful, but telegraphed. Dooku reads each one, redirecting the energy with his Makashi precision. But the crystal's instability works in Anakin's favor in ways Dooku doesn't expect. The blade surges mid-strike, changing the power and speed of an attack after it's already launched. Dooku adjusts, but the adjustment costs him a fraction of a second each time. Anakin lands a hit. His blade grazes Dooku's left shoulder, burning through the fabric and scoring the flesh beneath. Dooku hisses, his eyebrows narrow. For the first time in the fight, he stops being amused.
Impressive. Crude, but impressive.
But the crystal betrays him. A surge of anger pushes the blade too wide on an overhead strike. The power spikes, then drops. For half a second, the orange light dims as Anakin's focus fractures between rage and fear. The blade flickers at the worst possible moment. Dooku sees it. The opening that the cracked crystal creates every time Anakin's emotions shift too fast. The weapon announces its wielder's instability to anyone paying attention, and Dooku is always paying attention. He counterattacks with the full weight of his experience, years of lightsaber mastery compressed into a sequence of strikes that Anakin cannot match. A feint high, a thrust low, a twist that bypasses Anakin's guard entirely. The red blade cuts through Anakin's right arm just below the elbow. The orange lightsaber falls to the floor, still ignited, still flickering. Anakin screams. He drops to his knees, clutching the cauterized stump. Dooku stands over him, breathing hard, his left shoulder still smoking from Anakin's strike. He studies the young Jedi with something between respect and calculation.
You cut me, boy. No Jedi has managed that in a very long time. Remember this pain. Let it teach you what your masters cannot.
He turns and walks to his solar sailor. Anakin watches him leave through a haze of agony, his severed arm lying on the hangar floor beside his still humming blade. Later, in the medical bay aboard a Republic cruiser, Anakin receives his mechanical arm. The prosthetic is functional, precise, stronger than the limb it replaced, but when he grips his lightsaber for the first time with metal fingers, the crystal reacts differently. The connection is still there, but filtered, muted, as if the crystal can feel the difference between flesh and machine. He flexes the mechanical hand, opens it, closes it, grips the hilt tighter. The blade ignites, orange, flickering, but steady enough. The war has taken something from him. The crystal knows it. He knows it. And somewhere across the galaxy, Count Dooku touches the burn on his shoulder and remembers the boy with the orange blade who refused to fight like a Jedi. The Senate grants Palpatine emergency powers to prosecute a conflict that will reshape the galaxy. The Clone Wars erupt across every sector. The Jedi Order, stretched beyond capacity, deploys every capable knight to the front lines. Anakin is held back initially. The Council's reservations haven't faded, but as the war grinds on and casualties mount, desperation overrides caution. They send Anakin to smaller engagements first, border skirmishes, supply line defenses, missions where his instability might be contained if it surfaces. His fighting style is unlike anything the clones have seen. The flickering blade becomes an advantage. Enemies can't predict his rhythm, can't time their defenses against a weapon that shifts instantly mid-strike. He moves through battle with a ferocity that borders on reckless, but lands on effective. Every time, the clones start calling him the Ember Knight. The name sticks. It spreads through battalions, across comm channels, into the informal mythology that soldiers build around the leaders they trust with their lives. But his victories carry weight. On Christophsis, he orders a flanking maneuver that saves 3 battalions but levels an entire residential district. On Felucia, he holds a bridge alone for 9 hours, his blade cutting through wave after wave of droids while clone medics evacuate wounded behind him. 12 clones die holding the perimeter he refused to abandon. He wins. He always wins. But the cost climbs. The Council watches with growing unease. Master Plo Koon raises concerns after reviewing battle footage from Ryloth. Master Luminara reports that Anakin's tactical decisions prioritize victory over preservation with increasing frequency.
He's effective, but he's treating lives as currency, spending them to buy outcomes.
He's fighting a war, Mace. None of us are making clean choices out there.
There's a difference between difficult choices and indifference to cost, and that difference is growing.
Across Coruscant, Palpatine studies the anomaly of Anakin's orange blade, a crystal resistant to corruption and alignment, mirroring its wielder. Intrigued, he arranges a calculated private meeting under the guise of gratitude. With subtle manipulation, he reframes the Council's caution as fear and neglect, planting doubt within Anakin. As the conversation unfolds, Palpatine deepens the intrigue, eventually revealing a mysterious dark crystal fragment, hinting at knowledge the Jedi lack.
I came across something recently that reminded me of you. A historical artifact. Senate archives are filled with curiosities no one bothers to examine.
Anakin takes the fragment. The moment his fingers touch it, the Force shifts. Cold, old, familiar in ways that unsettles him.
What is it?
A holocron fragment. Incomplete, unfortunately. But what survives is fascinating. It contains records of a Force user from the Old Republic era. Someone who carried a crystal very much like yours. Cracked, unstable, rejected by his order.
A Jedi?
Once. His name was Desolus. The records suggest he struggled with the same limitations you face. A crystal that responded to emotion. Masters who saw his instability as a defect rather than a difference. Sound familiar?
Anakin doesn't answer. He pockets the fragment. That night, alone in his quarters, he activates it. The holocron projects a figure in dark robes. The face is gaunt, the eyes hollow but intense.
They told me the crack was a flaw, that I needed to compensate for it, control it, suppress it. I spent decades trying, decades wasted. The crack isn't damage. It is an opening, a channel that rigid crystals cannot provide. Stop fighting the fracture. Feed it. Let it widen. Let the full spectrum of the Force flow through without restriction.
The recording cuts out. Anakin sits in the dark, the crystal at his hip humming in response to what it just heard. He tells himself it's just history, just an academic curiosity from a politician's archive. He watches it again the next night, and the night after that. As the war continues, Anakin begins applying Desolus's philosophy in ways that accumulate. He stops trying to calm the crystal before combat, stops meditating before missions, stops fighting the flicker, and starts leaning into it. The results are immediate. His strikes hit harder, his reflexes sharpen. The blade responds to his aggression with surges of power that turn difficult fights into decisive ones. The crystal feeds on his intensity, and he feeds on its response, a loop that builds with every battle. But the crack deepens. He notices it one morning while cleaning the hilt. The fracture that was barely visible when he first pulled the crystal from Illum's frozen earth now runs across nearly half the surface. The orange light that bleeds through is darkened at its edges. He tells himself it doesn't matter. The blade works. It works better than ever. Palpatine provides more fragments over the following weeks. Each one contains another recording from Desolus, another lesson, another justification for embracing the damage rather than addressing it.
My masters called it instability. I call it honesty. A perfect crystal lies to its wielder. It pretends balance exists without fear. The crystal cracked tells the truth. It shows you exactly what you are. And what you are is powerful enough to break the rules they built to contain you. The wider the crack, the more power flows through. Pain is a channel. Grief is a channel. Rage is a channel. The Jedi seal these channels shut and wonder why their connection to the Force feels thin. I tore mine open, and the Force poured through like a river breaking a dam.
Anakin absorbs it all. The teachings align with everything he's experienced. Every time the Council told him to suppress his feelings, the crystal weakened. Every time he let his emotions drive him, the crystal surged. Decilus's logic feels airtight. He doesn't notice the crack is spreading faster now, that the blade takes longer to ignite some mornings, that the hum has developed a rough edge that wasn't there before. Then comes the breaking mission. A separatist fleet positions itself in orbit behind a populated moon called Vega Minor, using 3 million civilians as a living shield while launching strikes against Republic supply lines feeding the entire northern campaign. Without those supply lines, 12 Republic outposts starve within weeks. Tens of thousands of clones and civilian aid workers die slow deaths waiting for resources that never arrive. Anakin requests evacuation transports. Command denies them. There aren't enough ships, and the Separatist blockade would destroy any civilian vessels attempting to leave. He requests a surgical strike team. Denied again. The fleet is too well positioned, too heavily defended for anything less than a full bomber assault. He spends 3 hours in the command center running alternatives. Every simulation ends the same way. The fleet survives, or the moon burns. There is no third option. Rex stands behind him at the holotable, watching Anakin cycle the same scenarios for the 4th time. The clone captain has seen his general push through impossible situations before. This is different. This is a situation where pushing harder changes nothing.
General, we're running out of time. The northern outposts are reporting critical supply levels. Another 48 hours and we start losing people.
I know, Rex.
The men trust your judgment, sir. Whatever you decide.
That's the problem, isn't it? Everyone trusts my judgment until they see what my judgment costs.
He pulls up the population data for Vega Minor one more time. 3 million total. Dense settlements concentrated around the moon's equator. The Separatist fleet is positioned directly above the largest city. Any bombing run hits the fleet and the city beneath it. There is no angle of approach that avoids civilian casualties. Commander Cody stands near the doorway, arms crossed, his helmet tucked under one arm. He's been running logistics for the northern outposts and knows the number better than anyone on the ship. He hasn't spoken in 20 minutes.
General, with respect, we can't sit on this much longer. But we also can't pretend 20,000 dead civilians is just a line in an after-action report.
You think I don't know that, Cody?
I think you know it better than anyone in this room, sir. That's why you've been standing at a holotable for 3 hours instead of giving the order 2 hours ago. He's right, General. You've run every alternative. There's nothing left to find.
Anakin stares at the hologram. Vega Minor rotates slowly in blue light. Its population centers marked in white. The Separatist fleet blinks red above them. His hands hover over the command console. The crystal at his hip hums with a low, agitated frequency, matching the dread building in his chest.
All bomber wings. Target the fleet. Weapons free.
The explosions light up the viewport. Secondary detonations chain through the Separatist formations as fuel reserves ignite. Debris rains down on Vega Minor's surface. Fires spread across 3 population centers. Communication channels fill with distress signals that no one can answer. Cody puts his helmet back on and leaves the command center without a word. Rex removes his helmet and holds it against his chest. Neither of them looks at Anakin. The fleet is destroyed. 20,000 civilians die in the crossfire. The supply lines hold. 12 outposts survive. Mission success, strategic victory, and Anakin sits alone in his quarters afterward, staring at his hands, feeling nothing he can name. The orange blade rests on his table beside him, the crystal humming low and uneven, reflecting the hollow space where his certainty used to be. That night, the crystal forces a vision, something transmitted through the fracture itself, as the crack has become a window into something Anakin was never meant to see. He sees Decius standing on a battlefield, his cracked crystal blazing with power, cutting through enemies with terrifying speed. He is winning. He is unstoppable. And then the crystal shatters. The blade dies mid-strike. The fragment of the Kyber crystal explodes outward, tearing through Decilus's hand, his arm, his chest. The force he channeled through the widened crack turns inward and has nowhere else to go. He collapses. The last image is his face, surprised, as if he never considered that feeding a fracture would eventually break the thing holding it together. Anakin wakes, gasping. His lightsaber rattles on the nightstand. He grabs it, ignites it. The orange blade flickers to life, but the hum is wrong, rougher, strained. He runs his thumb along the crystal housing and feels the vibration of a fracture that has grown too deep. For the first time, he wonders if Decilus's path has an ending he hasn't been shown. Obi-Wan finds him the next morning. He's seen the reports from the moon, he's read the casualty figures, and he's watched his former Padawan retreat further into himself with each passing month.
Anakin, we need to talk about what happened.
The mission was successful.
20,000 people are dead.
And 2 million more would have starved if those supply lines fell. I made the calculation. It was correct.
Listen to yourself. You're talking about lives like numbers on a ledger. This isn't who you are.
Then who am I, Master? Because the Council doesn't know. You don't know. I certainly don't know. And all I know is that when I act, people survive. When I hesitate, they don't.
You're winning the war, Anakin, but you're losing yourself.
Maybe the war doesn't care about myself.
He walks away. Obi-Wan doesn't follow. Palpatine fills the silence. Another meeting, another conversation framed as philosophy. Weeks later, the Council's investigation into the Sith Lord intensifies. For months, fragments of intelligence have pointed toward a hidden master pulling strings behind the Separatist movement. Dooku is the visible face, but someone trained him. Someone gave him the resources to wage a galactic war. Someone sits above him in a chain of command the Jedi can feel but cannot trace. The breakthrough comes from Republic intelligence. Intercepted communications between Dooku and an unnamed contact reference a meeting on Tyth, a corporate world deep in Separatist space. The messages are encrypted, but the fragments that analysts crack reference the plan, Order 66, and the transition of power. The Council does not know what Order 66 means, but the phrase transition of power is enough.
Find Dooku, we must. Answers he holds. The path to the true Sith Lord, through him it runs.
Skywalker and Kenobi. They've faced him before. Skywalker has a score to settle.
That's precisely what concerns me.
Trust your former Padawan. You must. Changed he has. For better or worse. Settled his blade has become.
Anakin and Obi-Wan deploy to Tyth within hours. The planet is gray and industrial, its surface covered in factory complexes and corporate towers. Dooku's location is confirmed in a penthouse facility overlooking the primary manufacturing district. They move through the building in silence. The mission carries weight they both feel. Anakin's blade hangs at his hip, the crystal humming with a steady, low frequency. The conviction he found weeks ago holds firm. They find Dooku on the top floor. He stands by a panoramic window, watching Republic gunships circle in the distance. He turns as they enter. His eyes move to Anakin's lightsaber immediately.
Skywalker, you've grown since Geonosis. I can feel it. The conflict in your blade has quieted.
A lot has changed since Geonosis.
And you, Kenobi, still cleaning up after your students, I see.
Still serving tyrants, I see.
We all serve someone, Kenobi. The only question is whether we know who holds our leash.
His curved hilt ignites. Red light fills the room. Obi-Wan moves first. His Sarosu is tighter than it was on Geonosis, refined by 3 years of war. He engages Dooku's Makashi with patient discipline, testing, probing, keeping the Count occupied while Anakin circles.
Your defense has improved, Kenobi, but defense alone has never beaten me.
Anakin enters from the flank. His orange blade cuts a horizontal arc toward Dooku's midsection. The Count pivots, redirecting Obi-Wan's thrust while catching Anakin's strike on his crossguard. The three blades lock for half a second before Dooku disengages with a spinning retreat. The duel becomes a conversation of forms. Dooku's Makashi against Obi-Wan's Sarosu and Anakin's Gemso. The Count is outnumbered, but his precision is extraordinary. Every movement is calculated. Every parry creates distance. Every riposte targets joints and tendons with surgical intent. But Anakin is different from the boy on Geonosis. His strikes are controlled, powerful but measured. The orange blade does not surge or flicker. It burns, steady, each swing carrying exactly the force he intends. No more, no less. Dooku notices.
Fascinating. You've found your center, haven't you? The crystal has stopped fighting you.
It stopped fighting me when I stopped fighting myself.
And what did you find when it stopped?
That I don't need anyone to tell me what I am.
Dooku's eyes flicker. Something passes across his face. Recognition. And beneath it, something unexpected. Envy.
Then you've accomplished what I never could. My master promised me the same peace. He lied.
Obi-Wan catches the words. His blade pauses for a fraction of a second. Dooku is talking about his Sith master, volunteering information. The Count is tired of war. Tired of the leash he just referenced. Anakin sees the opening, a gap in Dooku's guard created by exhaustion and distraction. His blade moves in a single, decisive arc. Dooku's lightsaber flies from his hand. A second strike takes both hands at the wrist. Count Dooku drops to his knees, face twisted in pain. Anakin stands over him, blade humming at his throat. Steady, orange, unwavering.
Do it, then. My master will simply find another apprentice. He always does. He's closer than you think, Skywalker. He's been with you from the beginning.
What do you mean?
You think I started this war? I'm a pawn. Same as you. Same as every Jedi and every clone and every droid on the battlefield. One man built this. One man controls it. And you have been having dinner with him for years.
Who?
Dooku opens his mouth to answer. Then his eyes go wide. His body seizes. He chokes, gasps, claws at his own throat with the stumps of his wrists. The force tightens around his windpipe from across the galaxy, crushing it with invisible fingers. Dooku dies on the floor of his penthouse, silenced before he can speak the name. Anakin and Obi-Wan stare at the body. The room is silent, except for the distant hum of gunships.
This is... Someone killed him through the Force, from a distance. That level of power.
He said the Sith Lord has been with me from the beginning.
They recover what they can from Dooku's facility, encrypted datapads, communication logs, financial records linking separatist operations to shell companies on Coruscant. The evidence points upward, toward the highest levels of Republic leadership, but nothing is conclusive. No name, no direct connection, just shadows and implications that the Senate would dismiss as conspiracy. Back on Coruscant, the Council reviews the findings.
The financial trails lead to the Senate district, but they dead-ended intermediaries. We can't trace them to a specific office.
Dooku's final words suggest someone within Anakin's personal circle. That narrows the possibilities considerably.
Careful we must be. Accuse the wrong person and destroy the Order's credibility, we will. But wait too long and strike first, the Sith Lord may.
He said someone who's been with you from the beginning. Anakin, think. Who has been a constant presence in your life since you arrived on Coruscant?
Anakin doesn't answer, because the crystal at his hip begins to pulse. Slow, heavy, the rhythm of a heart that already knows what the mind refuses to accept. The next meeting with Palpatine is Anakin's idea. He requests it himself, tells the Chancellor he needs to discuss the Dooku operation. Standard debrief, nothing unusual. But he walks into the office carrying Dooku's words and a question that has been building for weeks.
Anakin, my boy, I heard about your victory on Tyth. The Republic owes you yet another debt.
Dooku is dead, but not by my hand. Not entirely. Someone killed him through the Force while he was trying to tell me something. Crushed his throat from across the galaxy.
My, a disturbing development. The Sith Lord the Council has been hunting, perhaps.
Perhaps. I wanted to talk about these.
The historical artifacts. Has the research been useful?
Darth Decimus, that's who's on these recordings. A Sith Lord, and these aren't from any Senate archive, Chancellor. I checked. These fragments contain Sith teachings encoded into a format that predates the Republic itself. No Senate archivist has ever cataloged them. No academic has ever referenced them.
The Senate's archives are vast, Anakin. Not everything has been properly cataloged.
Stop. I watched Decilus's recordings for months. I followed his teachings. I widened the split in my crystal because he told me it would make me stronger. And it did. For a while. Until I saw how his story ended.
And how did it end?
The crystal shattered. Killed him. The same path you set me on, Chancellor. Feed the fracture. Embrace the damage. Let the crack widen until there's nothing left to hold together.
Anakin, you are under enormous stress. The war, the loss on Vega Minor, Dooku's death. It's natural to look for patterns where none exist.
Dooku said the Sith Lord has been with me from the beginning. That I've been having dinner with him for years. And then someone killed him before he could say the name. You gave me Sith holocrons, Chancellor. You taught me Sith philosophy through a dead man's voice. You steered me toward a path that would have destroyed my crystal and me along with it. How does a politician have Sith artifacts?
Because I am not merely a politician, Anakin. I am what the Jedi have been hunting for 1,000 years.
You sent me Decilus's holocron to break me, to widen the crack until I couldn't function without the dark side to hold me together.
I sent you Decimus because you were supposed to succeed where he failed. Your crystal was supposed to crack open completely and bleed from the inside. A new kind of Sith blade, born from damage rather than domination. But you healed it. You chose the most pathetic option available to you. Acceptance. Peace. Mediocrity.
I chose to stop breaking myself for your approval.
The blade ignites. Orange light fills the office, flickering wildly as Anakin's emotions surge. Palpatine doesn't flinch. Before Anakin can respond, the office doors burst open. Mace Windu enters with 3 Jedi Masters, lightsabers drawn. They've tracked the dark side disturbance to its source.
Chancellor Palpatine, you are under arrest for treason against the Republic.
Ah, the Jedi arrived to save the day. How predictable.
Step aside, Skywalker. This doesn't have to involve you.
They'll destroy you next, you know. Once they've dealt with me, your crystal, your power, your very nature becomes the next threat they eliminate.
Stop. Both of you. Just stop.
The crystal screams. The blade surges and flickers so violently that the light of the room strobes. Anakin grips the hilt with both hands, but the weapon feels alive, pulling in 2 directions at once. His emotions mirror the chaos. Every argument from the Jedi, every whisper from Palpatine, every battle, every compromise, every moment he felt too much and was told to feel less.
Anakin, control yourself.
There is no control. There is only power. Take it.
The crystal destabilizes completely. The blade sputters, dims, surges, dims again. It becomes almost unstable, the energy output swinging wildly between dangerous overload and near collapse, and at the center of it all, Anakin stops. He powers the blade down. The room goes quiet. The hum dies. The flickering shadows vanish. Everyone freezes. In the silence, he thinks of Padme, the way she makes him feel. Grounded, present, known without judgment. He thinks of the first time she told him she loved him, and how the galaxy had felt, for one single moment, like it made sense. He thinks of Obi-Wan, the frustration and loyalty, the distance and devotion, a man who never stopped trying, even when Anakin made it impossible. He thinks of the younglings at the temple, the ones who avoided him, the ones who watched him with fear, and the one years ago who asked him what an orange lightsaber meant. He hadn't known the answer then. He knows it now.
It means I get to choose.
He reignites the blade. The orange light fills the room. Steady, even. The hum is low and constant. No flicker, no surge, no instability. The crystal has found what it's been waiting for since Anakin pulled it from the frozen earth of Illum. The wielder who has stopped fighting himself. Palpatine sees it immediately. The shift in the Force, the change in Anakin's presence, the careful control replacing the chaos he spent years cultivating.
No, no, you cannot simply choose neutrality. The Force demands commitment. You are mine.
He attacks. Lightning erupts from his fingertips with the full fury of a Sith Lord unmasked. The energy tears across the office, shattering transparisteel and scorching durasteel walls. Anakin's blade catches the lightning. The orange plasma absorbs the energy, the crystal channeling it through the weapon with a stability it has never shown before. Anakin holds his ground. His feet don't slide. His arms don't shake. Palpatine pushes harder. He draws on decades of accumulated dark side power, pouring everything into the assault. The lightning intensifies. The air itself ionizes, filling the room with the sharp stench of burning ozone. His will through the Force targeting the scar where the crack once ran, searching for the weakness, trying to reopen the fracture he spent years cultivating through Decilus's teachings. The blade shifts. The scar glows. Orange bleeds toward red at the edges where the healing is newest, most fragile. The hum distorts. Anakin feels it. Feels Palpatine's darkness pressing into the mended fracture, trying to tear it open again.
Skywalker, hold on.
For 3 seconds, the scar burns bright. 3 seconds where the outcome of the galaxy hangs on 3 seconds where the outcome of the galaxy hangs on whether a healed wound can withstand the force that caused it. The crystal holds. The scar holds. Healed bone is stronger than unbroken bone. The crystal that mended itself through acceptance cannot be fractured again by the same manipulation that broke it the first time. It has already survived that lesson. Anakin steps forward, one step, then another, pushing through the lightning. The blade cuts a path through the energy, orange light burning through red darkness. Palpatine's eyes widen. Fear. Real, genuine fear. One strike. Clean. Decisive. The blade passes through Palpatine's chest. The Sith Lord's eyes go wide. The lightning dies. The room falls silent. Palpatine crumples. The dark side presence that has choked the galaxy for decades dissipates like smoke in open air. Anakin stands over the body, his blade still humming in its steady note. Windu stares. The Masters stare. None of them move. Anakin deactivates his lightsaber and clips it to its belt. Without Palpatine's hidden hand guiding the war, the conflict unravels within weeks. The Separatist leadership, already fractured, collapses entirely when their secret benefactor's death becomes public. The Republic begins the long process of healing. Mon Mothma and Bail Organa lead Senate reforms. Emergency powers are dissolved. Democratic processes resume with slow, imperfect grinding of institutions finding their footing again. the Jedi Order changes too. The cracks that Anakin's existence exposed, the rigidity, the fear of emotion, the inability to accommodate what didn't fit neatly into their framework, these become foundations for reform. Yoda, in his final years as Grand Master, begins the work of reshaping doctrine to acknowledge what the orange crystal proved, that balance isn't the absence of conflict, it's the integration of it. Anakin doesn't lead the Order, he doesn't seek a seat on the Council, he returns to Padme, to the life they've built in secret that no longer needs to be secret. Luke and Leia are born in a galaxy that is bruised and tired but no longer burning. Obi-Wan visits often, tension between them has vanished, but it's changed, softened by honesty and survival, and the shared knowledge that they came close, impossibly close, to losing everything. Later that night, Anakin stands alone on the balcony. The city stretches out before him, lights flickering in the darkness. He unclips his lightsaber and holds it in his palm. The weight is familiar. The crystal inside hums faintly, responding to his presence the way it always has. He ignites the blade. Orange light spills across the balcony. Steady, quiet, complete. He holds it for a long moment, watching the light. Then he powers it down, clips it back to his belt, and goes inside. That's our theory. Star Wars is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.